Hey everyone! The VOD you're about to watch was originally live streamed on Twitch, but I know some of you prefer a different platform to watch on or to watch whenever you want at your leisure. Or maybe it's years from now and you're just now joining us and checking out my archives. And either way, welcome. I typically stream on Twitch on Sundays at 11 a.m. Eastern. If you'd like to join us live, you can find the links to my Twitch page and all of my other social media down in the description. I am just starting out, so bear with me, style under construction. If you have any comments or feedback, feel free to leave them in the comments. And if you'd like this, I'd really like it if you would like and subscribe. It really helps me out. I'm very grateful. I'm super excited about this content that I'm creating, and I hope you guys are too. I love hearing from you. So without further ado, I hope you enjoy this video. Thanks a bunch. Pardon my shoulder there. Oh, come on. Hi. You've been curled up in your cubbyhole for 45 minutes, but you sensed I was turning the camera on. What a ham. Yes, you're a ham. Do you just want to be internet famous? Is that it, Sasha? Just like any other kitty, you long for fame. Everyone should admire the kitty. Morning, Merlin. Sasha wants everyone to admire her beauty. Hi. Yes, hello. I mean, she features on my Insta, but no, I don't have one dedicated to her. Mostly because all of the pictures I take of her are exactly the same, where she's just kind of flopped out somewhere. She's not actually super photogenic. The biggest problem being she's a black cat. So it's actually fairly hard to take good pictures of her. Yes. Yes, hello, I love you too. Yes, I love you too. What? You're heavy. Yes, you're heavy. I need more papers first. swear I'm awake. I'm definitely not awake. But that's okay. This doesn't really require brain cells. Yes, I'm putting things on you. How dare? Glasses are good. Glasses are important for seeing things. Also, maybe coffee, which I do have, luckily. What? Yes, I'm laying things on you because you're laying on me. I only have so much lap space, Sasha. I know, you're offended. This happens every week. That should be 6, unless I've counted wrong. I could very easily have counted wrong. Alright. What? Fine. There. No, don't eat them. So what are you working on this morning, Merlin? Besides waking up? Which is definitely a valid thing to work on. I'm excited. I finally reclaimed my floor space from the quilt. Got all the rows stitched together, so I was able to pick it up. So I've actually got my table back and unfolded, and I've got everything laid out to do my first round of resin this afternoon for like prototyping shaker charms. That's gonna be fun. Cleaning your PC is very good, very important. Yes, this is my floof cat. She is very floof cat. Also, good morning, Kitty. Yeah, she was over in her little cubby hole, curled up on her fleece blanket for like 45 minutes. And then as soon as I turned the camera on, she was like, oh, yeah, slap. Oh, there she goes again. Are you offended? Morning, Kitsune. Oh, I will definitely send pics, Merlin. Once I get them all poured, I'll probably post a picture on Insta. I want to do like the main work of mixing and pouring the charms themselves today, so that way over the course of the week, I can do like the other steps of the process, because it'll take, you know, time for the resin to dry in between. What are you doing? Oh, she was stepping on a bubble mailer. That's what she was doing. She'll be back. The door is open and she'll be back. Yeah, we'll see how these charms turn out, because I've got a few kind of off-the-wall ideas that may or may not actually work out. So we'll see how these prototypes do. Why? Sasha? No, she's just pawing at the bubble mailer because she can. Come on. Come on. You know you can jump up here. Meh. There we go. Oh, so you have potatoes, Kite. Excellent. That doesn't sound like cleaning, that sounds like harvesting. Must you? Except they've ground through the structural parts. Oh yeah, that's not great. Yeah. Good luck. Is it harvest them without disturbing the worms too much? Yeah, that makes sense. Is this something you have like outside or like in a garage? And I will admit, I have no idea what the weather is like in your part of Britain right now. Although, I presume if you have worms, not too cold? Although compost bins are warmer just by dint of being compost bins. But still, I would imagine they probably freeze in winter if you have them outside. Oh, balcony. Very nice. I actually also have a balcony because we live in a townhouse. And I actually we have some, like I don't know what you call them, like trough boxes, that I'm hoping to put some flowers in this year. I've been putting it off a bit just because it's April in Ottawa. We had snow on Wednesday. Not too much, but a little bit. So I've kind of been putting off planting anything because I don't want a weird late frost to just kill them. But the Home Depot near us has started putting up their garden center, which I think is a sign that I should be okay to start planting things. I might actually go out this afternoon after I've done my resin pours, and see what I can find at the garden center, depending on how long that takes me. Hello. These are for you. No, she does not want them. Alright, now we can sew, now that I have papers. My only problem is I'm very picky about my flowers. My mom always had a garden growing up, and I always helped her in the garden. So there's some plants I'm extremely nostalgic for, but mostly ones that wouldn't do well in trough boxes. And then there's some plants that I absolutely can't stand. For no particular reason. Well, I'm not a fan of marigolds because I hate the smell of them. I can't stand the smell of marigolds. I'm not a huge fan of like petunias and pansies just because I find them boring. But like my mom always had daffodils and crocuses and black-eyed Susans. But yeah, none of those do well in boxes. They kind of need the room in the ground to spread out. Local wildlife would come and eat everything. Yeah. Back when, a few years ago when we lived in our old place, we did have like a little strip of garden outside the front door. But this entire area is clay, so it was like the shittiest garden possible as far as quality. We tried, morning Dobby. We tried to have tulips. Yeah, so we wanted tulips because tulips are like me and Kaylee's flower. Like that's our relationship flower. We did like our engagement pictures at the tulip festival. It was a whole thing. And so we wanted to plant some tulips. So we did research and followed the instructions. We dug down like 2.5 feet, planted the bulbs, put chicken wire over top of them under the ground, and then put more dirt on top of that because the squirrels would just dig down. Squirrels will just dig down to get at the bulbs themselves because they want the nutrients that are in the bulbs. So we tried to put like chicken netting over the bulbs underground to prevent the squirrels from digging down to them. And that actually worked pretty well. We just no longer live there anymore, unfortunately. I would love to have more tulips. But again, anything with a bulb kind of needs more depth than what a trough box will give me. Ooh, Kite, yeah. Don't worry, Kite, I promise not to dox you. How would I even get to Britain? I could not. I would swim. Worked in the bulb industry during your vacations? Yeah, but you're Dutch, so I just kind of assumed that every person that lives in the Netherlands has to do their time in the bulb industry. Isn't that like a requirement of living there? Free high tea. That's very true. That is true, and I would love to have the chance of free high tea. I mean, bye, Sasha. The invitation definitely goes both ways, Kite. If you're ever in Canada, please stop by. High tea, like British high tea, like the mid-afternoon pastries and tea and tiny little delectable finger sandwiches. So good. Kaylee and I, when we went to the Bouchard Gardens out in British Columbia for our honeymoon, we went to high tea there, and it was so good. Like they had these tiny little like one bite lemon tarts that I still dream about. It was so delicious. And actually because of that, for our anniversary every year, I order another container of tea from the Bouchard Gardens because their tea packets last us about a year. I'm sure Kate will answer, but from what I understand, high tea is usually tea. There needs to be a savory component, so like usually little sandwiches, or like sometimes mini like meat pies or something, I think, but I don't think that's as traditional. And then little sweets. So there's usually like scones and clotted cream. Yes, and a lot of pompousness. Usually big hats. The wider the brim, the better. And if it ties under your chin with a ribbon, that's like you've won high tea. Oh man, yeah, the Bouchard Gardens had like the scones they gave us were like, I want to say they were pear scones, and they were so good. Just like so light and fluffy and just mildly sweet. The two genders are tall hats and wide hats. Oh yes, that is true. Absolutely true. Especially back in like the 1800s. That's all there was. You didn't start seeing like the fancy curly hats until modern day. Are fascinators hats? I feel like that's a philosophical debate. I would tend to say no, because fascinators typically use a clip or something that anchors into your hair to keep it on. So to me, at that point, it's a hair clip, not a hat. Or like a hair ornament, not a hat. To be a hat, I think to me the definition of a hat is something that actually goes around the head to some extent. Whether it's held on by a chin strap or not, it still encircles the skull, which fascinators do not do. But don't at me, that's just my opinion. Unless I'm misinterpreting what you mean by fascinator. But I think that's what you mean. Like the little tiny pillbox hats that have to be clipped in to even stay. Yes, come on. Here you are again. Meh. Meh. What? Hi. You're desperate for love. Meh. Fascinators are notable for being socially acceptable to wear indoors. I did not actually know that. It makes sense, because they're not hats. So warm, Sasha. So warm. Were a fascinator to try to keep off the rain or the sun, it would be very suboptimal. Yes, correct. you would keep maybe 3 square inches of your scalp dry. No, pin. I'm definitely not awake yet. I mean, I suppose you could have a wide brim fascinator, but at that point just wear a hat. If you're wearing a fascinator with a wide enough brim to serve as a sunshade, it's gonna end up looking a little silly. But I suppose we could start a trend. Yeah, fascinator plus parasol, I think, would be the preferred configuration. Parasols are lovely, but I knew if I got one, I would never use it. I don't even use umbrellas because I hate having to carry an extra thing, and I hate having to open and close it every time I get on or off the bus or go in and out of a place. So I usually just wear like rubber boots, a leather jacket, and then I have either a hat or I have like one of those plastic rain ponchos. Well, I shouldn't say plastic. It's like, well, it is, but it's PVC. It's like the high quality rain poncho thing that I'll put on over top just because, and put up the hood just because I hate carrying an umbrella. And I don't know why. I guess I don't like juggling things in my hands when I don't have to. Is it bath time? Is it bath time, or are you just licking your toes because you're bored? Have you finally settled? Hmm? Finally settled? looking for? She's just making the tiny kitty little noises for no particular reason. Is the thread tickly? Is that the problem? Is the thread tickling your fur? Well, I'm very sorry. You know, it's a good thing my brother and sister-in-law aren't allergic to cats. Because so much of your fur is going to end up in this blanket. Can I get another hexagon out of that? No, probably not. I only just the other day realized the obvious play on words that I am the Patch Witch and I'm making hexes. Well, hexies are usually what they're called in quilting circles, but you know, close enough. I feel like there's probably some uwu witch out there somewhere that calls their spells hexies, so it works. The plural of hex is hexen. I mean, I could see that. One hex, two hexen. Or is it one hex, two hexes, many hexen? Where hexen is the indeterminate plural? Hexapodes. No, that's... I feel like hexapodes would only refer to a living creature. Because, I don't know, I guess for me, the podes suffix always indicates limbs. So, like, to me, hexapode indicates something with 6 limbs, not just any 6-related thing. I'm sure that's grammatically incorrect, but for whatever reason, that's just how I associate that. And I'm not even sure why. It's probably because... Yeah, I was going to say it's probably because podes is feet. Same root as pedometer. Yeah, that's what I thought. I guess if I was to make giant hexagons that were either 6 feet in diameter or 6 feet to a side, we could call them hexapodes. I'm not sure I ever want to see a hexagon that big, but it could theoretically happen. God, that would be so much fabric. Or I guess I could do many, many, many smaller hexagons built up into a larger hexagonal blanket that is 6 feet to a side, and then call that my hexapodes. This is my magnum opus, the hexapodes. That would kind of be a neat project. Ridiculous, but kind of neat. Seems like quite a lot for a joke, but I'd do that. Yeah, I mean, I've definitely done worse. I mean, one of my things is I try to sit down and do at least a hexagon or two a day, even if it's just like as we're going upstairs at the end of the night while Kara's getting ready for bed. I'll pop into the sewing room and sit down and do one or two, because it only takes me, well, you know, I've done 5 in the time I've been sitting here. It only takes me a couple minutes, so I'm trying to do at least 1 or 2 a day just to keep momentum going. And I've kind of toyed with the idea in the past of either as a side project or as my next major project once I finish this one. Since this one is intended to be a gift and I should probably get it done sooner rather than later. I've kind of toyed with the idea of like doing a hexagon a day that's my mood for that day. So like if I had a really good day, I might pick, you know, like a bright yellow and red floral that I really like, that's really bright. Or if I've had a really shitty day, pick a fabric that I hate or one that's really dark. And then build the quilt up over time so that eventually I'll be able to look at it and see sort of the landscape of my mind in fabrics. So it's kind of an idea I've been toying with as sort of an art project / blanket. A hexagon a day keeps the structure blocking the Fae. Ooh, Fae-Ul's gonna be mad at us. Is there actually a thing with hexagons in the Fae, though? I don't think I've ever heard that one. Because I know lines of salt is supposed to stop them, and iron. But I don't think I've ever heard hexagons. Was that just you being facetious, or was that an actual thing? Not that you're aware of. That's what I thought. I'm like, I don't think I've ever read that. In that case, if it was, the Fae would have a lot of problems with bees. And yet, the Fae love honey. So, they must be somewhat okay with hexagons. Yeah, we never call Fae-Ul when we should. I still wish it would have been so funny if there was like an Easter egg when you get to the last zone in Endwalker, where you try to call Fae-Ul and you just very distantly hear a faint voice just going, "The fuck are you?" Yes, friends, please remind any witches you know not to salt the earth. That is very bad. Put down a mat or a tarp if you absolutely must. Loosely related, our rental company keeps replanting grass in places where grass is dying, and Kara and Jade and I keep joking / threatening that we're gonna go out in the dead of night and just spread clover seed instead, or like mint, because mint is tenacious. Nothing kills mint, and it smells nice, and it looks better than grass, and it takes less water, and it's just generally better for the environment, and it's not invasive in this area. Thrips kill mint? I'm not aware of what a thrip is. Is that an insect, I'm going to guess? I don't actually know what a thrip is, Kite. You've gone too British. Millimeter scale aphid-like insect is what a thrip is. Okay. Sucks the nutrients out of living plants. Yeah. We probably have something similar here. We might just call them something different, or who knows, maybe that's just a British Isle thing. But we definitely have other aphid-like creatures, yeah. Turns mint silver white, which is odd. Oh yeah, I think I've seen that. I don't think it's a terribly widespread problem around here, luckily. But I have seen that. It is very odd, you're right. Today on Horticulture with Kite. But yeah, I would love to just go out and seed our entire lawn with something that's not grass. Oh, that's all 6. That's probably 1 hex's worth of thread. Oh. And I'm out of papers again. Inconvenient. Oh, now you're well and truly asleep, aren't you? Now you couldn't care less what I'm putting on your back. Who's a sweetie? It's her. She's a sweetie. Oh, yes, purr purr. You can be sweet when you want to be. Don't you roar at me. Morning, Toe. Yes, she's being extremely helpful. Extremely sleepy and extremely helpful. She's making sure I don't go anywhere and that I keep working. Getting her fur into every groove of the blanket to make sure it's as warm as possible. Yes, I know. You know that's the clock, Sasha. You know that's just the clock. But yes, she is making sure this blanket is extra insulated with as much cat fur as can physically fit into it. Also, I see HopeBot is still here. Thank you, HopeBot. We get a bonus burb from HopeBot. What kind of burb is that? Nope. Sorry, Sasha. Oh, very pretty. I don't know what kind of burb that is. Looks like some sort of a... Oh, I'm sorry, Sasha. She'll be back. Judging by the hooked beak, looks like some sort of either a bird of prey or a scavenger, but usually they're not that brightly colored. Interesting. I'm sorry I offended you, Sasha. I leaned forward just a fraction too much to reach my laptop. No, she has now decided to loaf on the cold ground at my feet to make me feel guilty. You can come back up. You know you can. she's sitting and staring at me. Why, I'm not sure. If you're out of kibble, that's not my problem. I don't fill your kibble bowl. You have to go talk to Jade. Oh, Sephia, thank you for the follow. I appreciate it. It bothered her and she's making it my problem. It's true. I chased her off my warm lap, so she went to go comfort herself with kibble, only to find the bowl empty. Sephia is Cho Mom. Hello. Well, thank you very much for the follow. I much appreciate it. I'm SJ. I'm a friend of Cho. I sew, and my cat occasionally invades and looks cute. And then gets huffy and leaves. She decided to go over and sulk in her cubby hole. I moved one of her cat pans up here, so she now has a cubby hole on one of my shelves with a fleece blanket. She has a cat pan by the window. She has the fleece blanket that's on my lap. Like, she loves curling up in this chair when I'm not sitting on it and when I am sitting on it. And then she has another fleece blanket over on the floor under my desk. Because when I'm working at my desk, she wants to come sit on my feet. So she has no less than 3 blankets and 4 spots in this room. She's not spoiled at all. She is a delightful little goblin of darkness. Unfortunately, that means it's very difficult to take good pictures of her. But when she wants to be, she's very majestic. So the quilt top will be by hand, yeah. So it's the pattern that's up here. No, there. Yes. So it will be entirely English paper pieced hexagons by hand. Just because I actually really enjoy English paper piecing. I find it incredibly meditative to do hand sewing. But then when I actually do the construction and the quilting and the binding, I'll do that by machine because I'm not insane. Well, yes, I am insane. But yeah, all of the piecing will be by hand. I'm getting there. Especially, I'm making good progress, especially since I started streaming. Just because that's dedicated time every week I get to work on it. So I'm making decent progress. I'm hoping it's yeah, some self-preservation instincts, we'll put it that way. But this quilt is a belated wedding gift for my brother and sister-in-law. And we're going to be going down to see them this Christmas. So I'm going to try to have it done by then. Just because that means I won't have to ship it when it's done. We'll see if I actually make that goal or not. But that's the idea. Because shipping a quilt is a pain in the butt and very expensive. When I did a quilt for Desert Bus a few years ago, well, like 9 years ago now, I did not manage my time very well. and I ended up well, Kara and I both were working on it, and we ended up finishing the quilt a week before it had to be in Desert Bus's hands. So we ended up having to express ship it by Canada Post from Ontario to BC. And that cost like $85 to ship. It was not good. It got there. It got there in time. It got there with time to spare. But that was expensive. I would not do that again if I had any choice. Do not try to express ship quilts. Because I think it ended up weighing something like 20 pounds too. And it was, you know, I compressed it as much as I could, but it was a big box. I think the lady thought I was insane when I told her I wanted to ship it to BC as fast as possible. She was like, "Are you sure?" I'm like, "Yeah, it's on a deadline. It has to get there." I haven't decided if I'm going to try to submit anything for the craft along yet this year or not. Because there's been so many good blankets in recent years. I don't know that I can compete. I thought about doing a set of like resin charms to submit. So, but I'm only just started working with resin. So if I can manage a couple rounds of prototypes before applications open and they turn out nicely enough, maybe I'll put in an application for that. But I probably won't try to apply for a blanket this year. Again, just because I want to try to finish this one over the summer. And I don't want to try to stress myself out with too much. Yeah, that's fair, Cho. It's, especially doing an entire quilt, it's a lot. Especially in a compressed time frame. Yeah, so I'm gonna start experimenting with resin shaker charms. So they're the ones that have like an empty space in the middle, and you can put like beads or buttons or glitter or whatever, and then tilt it and turn it and make the things, you know, drift around. Oh, knit stuff. Okay. But still, yeah, if you don't have the brain, don't stress yourself out with it. There are so many excellent crafters now that can step up to the plate. Yeah, so I'm thinking, again, if the prototypes turn out well, or as well as I think they will, I was thinking of possibly submitting, doing like maybe a Pokemon set of them. So like either do like Kanto starters and legendaries, or a set of like the evolutions as a desert bus lot. Or I think I'm also going to experiment with doing Jobstone ones for FF14. They wouldn't be shaped like the Jobstones just because I'm limited by the molds that I have, and I'm not quite at the level yet where I can make my own molds. But I'd use the job symbols and then make the stuff inside them relevant to that job. Plus like color coding and stuff. So again, I'm gonna do a few experiments in the next couple weeks and see what I can work out, and then see what Erica thinks of them. I think Erica's running prices again this year. I haven't actually looked at their site to see if they've updated this year's rosters yet. Grabby hands for the jobstones, Merlin. I really like that idea. So I'm definitely going to be playing around with that a little bit. And like Moogle and Chocobo, like I've got a ton of ideas for ones that I can make. So I'm excited to start playing around with them. The only problem is Sasha's gonna be mad because I'll have to kick her out while I'm working with resin. Both because sticky and also because the fumes and stuff. I would rather be safe than sorry when it comes to the little kitty. Jobstones in bottles. Ooh, that'd be fun. I'll just keep sketching. Do them over and over, and eventually you'll come up with one you like. Because that's a cool idea. I loved when you did the mermaids in bottles. That was neat. That was you, right? I'm not losing my mind? I'm pretty sure that was you. Yeah, I thought so. Yeah, your merboys in bottles were great. I'm kind of sad I missed out on them, but also I was really, really poor when you had them up. Ooh. I will hit you up on Discord later. I might be able to take some of those off your hands. Yes, the problem of old stock sitting around. I have some of that too. I actually have a bunch of pendants. You want your, 15 merch mostly gone. That makes sense. It's not as in demand anymore. I have a bunch of pendants that I made back about a year ago when I first started experimenting with resin, before I realized that it was very difficult to do without a dedicated studio space, which I now have, thank God. But I made a bunch of pendants, and a bunch of them need sanding, and some of them just need like better pictures taken and stuff before I can list them on Etsy, and I just haven't gotten around to doing that. So I probably should do a reevaluation of whether any of them are actually worth listing or not. I also got a set of chess piece resin molds because I have this nifty idea, and they're the ones where you set them upside down. So like the way that the way that the mold works is when you pour, you end up pouring the top of the chess piece down to the bottom, and then the bottom is flat because the piece is turned upside down when you pour it. So I want to do, or I want to try to make like a crystal tower chess set where it's like clear at the top and then gradually gets more saturated blue as it goes down toward the base. So I'm gonna try experimenting with that because I think, oh good lord, what am I doing? Me not paying attention. Yeah, no, I like the idea of a crystal tower chess set. And I think if the Crystal Tower side turns out well, then I'll do the opposing side with themed after Amarat, with like black and purple threaded through with gold, I think. So I'm gonna experiment with that and see how those come out. There we go. Now I'm paying attention, sort of. So I take it you have interest in a chess set. Good to know. There wouldn't be a board with it unless I I don't know. I haven't figured out how to make a board yet. It would just be the pieces. I do too. I need somebody to play with me. Maybe we should find a way to play chess online. Okay, let me see that. I think chess is on Board Game Arena, actually. Ooh. Oh, that is a cool concept, Merlin. I really like that. I love that you've incorporated the limit break wings. That's really cool looking. Various better ways to play chess than Board Game Arena, but Board Game Arena does work. Yeah, that's fair. I haven't... Take burb, make into orb. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, Board Game Arena can be a bit hit or miss. Some of their interfaces are really, really great, and some of them are not. Like, I'm not a fan of their Mahjong interface at all. But I haven't actually poked at their chess one. Advantage of Board Game Arena is to have things centralized. Yeah, that's true. But also, thank you for the resources, Dobby. I will definitely poke at those. My dad and I used to play chess when I was a kid. I had like one of those plastic learner sets where it had a really big base on it, and what moves the piece could make were written on the base. So like for a knight, it would have a little L shape on the base with arrows to show you like, okay, this is how this piece moves, to help kids learn the game.
finally grabbed your glasses. Didn't you say you were going to grab your glasses like literally an hour ago? I can't fault you though. I'm exactly the same way in the mornings, especially on my day off. I'm just like, yeah, I need to do this thing, and then I'll sit and stare into space for like 45 minutes before I actually go do it. Distracted, that's fair. Was it Theo? It's easy to blame Theo. You mean for once Theo wasn't demanding your attention? Ah, I see. Yes, FF14 character creation can get very distracting. Are you rolling up another alt? I mean, I cannot judge. I have far too many. More than I can conceivably play, and yet I have them anyway. Yeah, that's an extremely potent distraction. I'm one of those people that once I make alts, I tend to come up with personality and characterization for them very quickly, so I can't Fantasia them later because that's just how they are. So whenever I get the urge to be like, oh, I want to play like this race instead, I just roll up another alt instead. Someone wants another healer in Crystal. Aw, that's sweet of you. How do y'all deal with the MSQ for alts? So it depends. So when I originally made, so my first main, Maria, I made all the way back in 2017. So my initial playthrough of the MSQ was Stormblood era. And then when I made Rhea, that was he was my pandemic alt. So I made him in like March 2020 when I was stuck at home for 3 months. But then after that, that's when they like compressed ARR and took out a bunch of quests and changed a bunch. So I have 2 alts that I actually am intending to play through the entire MSQ on, just because I want to see how the changes are. And it's been so long, I want to go through the MSQ again with the context of what I know now. Like after having finished Endwalker, it's like, okay, I want to go back to ARR and pay attention this time, knowing what I know now. But then other alts, like I have one alt that, spoilers, is a very spoilery, headcanon-y character. But for reasons, I want to watch him play through Shadowbringers and Endwalker, but not necessarily anything before that, so I just bought a story skip for him. So yeah, because, I mean, yeah, it's real money, but it's decently priced, especially considering the time sink of actually playing through MSQ. So for him, I just paid the $20 or whatever it was to skip him ahead to the start of Shadowbringers. I didn't actually buy him a level skip at the same time. I'm manually leveling up his classes up that high, just because I enjoy the leveling process. But yeah, I have bought a couple story skips for various alts. But now that there's actually, what are they calling it now? Duty support Now that there's one player capability for the ARR dungeons, I'm gonna actually go back and play the couple alts that I kept saying I was gonna play for MSQ. Yeah, I ran the new Copper Bell on. Yes, that too. There's days where I just do not want to play with other people, period. So being able to play solo is an incredible option. Thank you, Squeenix. But also the changes to Copper Bell are actually very, very nice. Because before you could tell it was kind of experimental and they were kind of playing around with mechanics to see what was viable, and they were not viable, and you could tell that they were experimental and you never saw those mechanics again. So they've actually changed it so that all three bosses are now more traditional fights, and they actually work to introduce mechanics to Sprouts that you will be seeing again. Like the in-out mechanics and sequential AoEs and that kind of thing. It's so nice. It's really, really nice. I ran through there because I'm leveling Archer on Kriya. So I was like, I'll try out new Copper Bell with the duty support system, and it's really nice. That said, we've lost about a dozen Spriggans from Copper Bell. They're just nowhere to be found now, so everybody keep an eye on your job stones because we've got loose Spriggans. I think the intention, Dobby, is that when they bring duty support forward, they'll probably revamp everything so that it's all matched up. So yeah, it'll be a bit jarring for now, but hopefully within the next couple months and the next couple patches, they'll get everything synced up again. Yeah, for now it'll be a bit hectic. Yay, I read Cho's mind. Faster than the team can? Yeah, probably. But I mean, it would be jarring anyway that they would not have them and then suddenly have them hitting Shadowbringers. So it's just gonna kind of be a mess no matter what until they can get everything revamped. Which of course takes time. I'm not faulting them that. I'm just glad they are going back and doing a revamp instead of just kind of washing their hands of it and going, oh well, that old content is old content. They can deal with the spaghetti code and the legacy issues. Oh, now you get used to them and have them taken away. That's true. It's a difficulty spike. We'll just call it, now you've entered the real game. It's fine, it'll be fine. I might actually tank things now. Maybe. I did pick up Tank for Farron. I actually have an existing alt that is a warrior main as well. My Row Lady Ember. And I haven't played on her as much as I have wanted to because she's a tank. So now maybe I'll actually play her as well. She's the one that I deliberately created to ship in a threesome with Lise and Hien. Because I have a shipping problem. And I'm not afraid to admit it. Femro tanks are the best. Femro anything is the best, let's be real. Yeah, that's the other reason I want to play her more, just because Femro, and they need more representation and love because they're awesome. Hear me out, Vieira. I do also have Vieira. My extremely spoilery boy is a Vieira. He's the one that I created to ship with Emmett and Hythlodaeus, if that should give you a clue on the nature of his spoilers. But yeah, he's a Vieira. I think I have it. I have an alt. I have at least one alt of every race except here. But I've played them to varying degrees. Because both of my mains are Mikos. Both of my mains are Mikos. I have a Lala that I haven't played a ton. And I should play more because she's precious. I have my Femro. I have an Aura that I will definitely play more now that there's duty support. I have... Oh no, well, yeah, so I have an Elizon that is deliberately based off of Arden from FF15 because I'm a nerd. And I don't have any hears. What if a story relevant Femro that doesn't get written out way too soon? Merlwib. But yeah, unfortunately that's about it. I mean, we have the Lady Femro that was introduced in the A-Raid storyline for 6.1. I really like her and I'm hoping that she sticks around. Because I love her. Stuck between Vieira and Aura for your new healer. Go Vieira. I mean, I'm biased. Mizia. I don't recognize that name right off. That's Boja? I've not actually played any of the Boja storyline. One of the Bojas. Yeah, I haven't actually played through that yet. I was so when I was playing through on Kriya, my main goal was I wanted to be caught up with MSQ when Endwalker dropped. And I made it with 24 hours to spare. So for like the last 8 months or so, I've been so... And I work full time, so I don't get a chance to play nearly as much as I want to. So anytime I did get to play, I was so focused on doing MSQ that I've not done much side content at all. Hopefully, now that I'm caught up and MSQ is just being released in patches, I'll be able to go back and fill in some of the side content. But yeah, I think the only like major side content I've done on him is Crystal Tower. And I'm starting the new A-Raid series, but like I've not done Omega, which Kara keeps yelling at me for. I've not done any of the other A-Raids. Not done Alexander. Well, okay, yeah, it's not really side content anymore. It was at the time. I like Alexander. I did Alexander on Maria, actually, because I did it on an FC night. Yeah, so I've not done Omega at all. I've done Alexander on Maria, but not on Kriya. I've not done any of the other A-Raids at all. Yeah, I'm very slow at things. But a lot of it I know at least the stories for, because I've either watched Kara play it or I've heard Kara talk about it. I don't usually care for spoilers at all. It's not a big deal. Or like I've watched Julie do it on stream. Like I've not done the near raids myself, but I've watched Julie do them and I've watched Jade do them. It's just, yeah, I haven't actually done them myself on my characters. Bard and White Mage unsynced in Alexander. That sounds fun. Were you actually able to get through? Because I know some of the mechanics in some of those fights can be a little bit interesting. I'm sure they were somewhat easier unsynced. Oh, I've done Warring Triad too. A friend and I went through unsynced and did the Warring Triad. Generally 2 people you can do Alex unsynced. Yeah, that makes sense. Savage for the first time Friday for first circle of Az. Ooh. How'd that go? I take it you went in, did you go in as healer or did you go in as bard? Either way, good job. I've not, no, I take that back. I've done a little bit of Savage. I did Alex Savage on Maria, again for an FC night. But that's the only Savage content I've ever poked at all. 4 newbies and 4 vets. That sounds kind of ideal though. Especially if you're patient and you're an organized group that like is in voice chat for calls. That's usually how our FC does it, and it seems to work really well. Not that I've been around for many FC nights, but Lucia and Carib are usually really well organized. I should get in on some of the EX mount farms. I just haven't had the brain space for it. I'm usually so dead after a full week of work that the last thing I want to do is get on voice chat with enthusiastic people and try to bang my head against an EX. 4.5 hours banging your head with a party finder randos, but you got the clear. Nice. Well done. And congrats. I mean, yeah, drink and have fun is the goal. But usually after a full week of work, I don't even want to do that. I don't want to hear anybody's voices. Except maybe Kara's. Yeah. Well, and I have a tendency to be extremely noise sensitive too. So usually by the time I get home from work, I'm on the edge of a headache anyway. And I kind of need to sit down and chill in the quiet or risk like a full-blown migraine. I actually had to talk to my boss on Friday because he wanted me to train one of our new guys on a couple processes. And I had to go to him and be like, okay, look, strong smell can also be a migraine trigger for me. And this guy wears so much, like either, I don't know if it's his cologne or his aftershave, but he reeks of it. And I had to go to my boss and be like, okay, look, I'll train him, but I'm gonna end up with a migraine. So either you have me train him during the last hour of the day, tell him to come in one day with no scent on, or have one of my other coworkers train him instead. So yeah, he said that he'd have my coworker train him, but then also talk to him about maybe wearing less scent. Because like every time he gets within 10 feet of me, I'm just like, I switch to breathing through my mouth. It's not that it's a bad cologne, it's just there's so much of it that it's overwhelming. At least for me. But again, I'm really sensitive to smells. I'm not straight up allergic, but I am sensitive. So at least my boss listened. And yeah, he said he'd talk to the guy about possibly going a little bit easier on and this guy is like, he's got a shaved head, so I'm wondering if he's just like pouring an entire bottle of aftershave on every time he touches up his head. I don't know. He's a nice guy. I just need him to go a little bit easier on the scent. But like, it's so awkward. Like, how do you bring that kind of thing up to a coworker, especially one that you don't know super well? That's kind of why I brought it to my boss instead. It's the manager's job to have that kind of talk with people, not mine. Yeah, I would love to come work your job, Merlin, honestly. Quiet and sitting at a desk and kind of boring sounds like heaven after my current job of running around fixing other people's mistakes and screaming into the void. Yeah, working at a library sounds like absolute heaven. Sounds like you need marketing. Just put up signs. Hey, you know there's a library here? You tried? Oh, I'm sorry. Is it a very big college? Or is it kind of a small college to begin with? Ah, come back here. People get their gen ed stuff done and then transfer. Yeah, that makes sense. baby. Come on. There we go. How's your cross stitch coming along, Merlin? Have you had much chance to work on it recently? I think the last time I saw you had finished just like the shield in the center. Ooh, yes, please. I would love to see an updated picture. I'm glad you're enjoying it. I'll probably pepper in more cross-stitch streams myself to keep working on that multicolor piece. I'm just kind of in a patchwork groove right now. Well, and like I said, trying to get this one finished before Christmas. Oh. Come on. What was that? Both cats and a K. And you're knitting. It sounds like a perfect Sunday afternoon show. Also, hi Kay. And chicken and pumpkin. Come on, you can come back up here. Oh yeah, it is. I always forget you guys are that far west. What are you doing, Sasha? Ooh, Death Stranding. That doesn't sound like a lazy Sunday morning, but to each their own. What? The music is great. I actually don't know that much about it beyond... Because that's the one with Norman Reedus and the oil and the weird baby, right? Like, I don't know much about it beyond the memes. I had no idea the music was good. I also had no idea it involved building roads, unless I'm completely thinking... Oh no, I am thinking of the right game, apparently. Technical masterpiece and a narrative disaster. Yeah, that sounds like everything I've heard about it. That seems to be the sentiment. Are you gonna come back up here or not? She keeps like pacing back and forth. And then sitting and staring at me and then walking away again. What do you want? Your bowl's empty, isn't it? That's what this is about. Your bowl is empty. And Jade's asleep. So she won't fill it for you and you're mad. Well, I'm sorry, Kitty. I'm gonna be here for another 45 minutes. And if she's not up by the time that I finish stream, then I'll fill your bowl for you. But you're gonna have to be patient. I know you're not starving. I know you think you're starving, but you are not starving. Oh, come on. There we go. Hi. Yes. Hi. Hello. Are you actually going to lay down, or are you just here to take up space? Hi. Hi. Are you going to settle, or are you going to keep spinning circles? Lay down. Lay down. There we go. There we go. Good girl. Yes, I promise I love you. Your purr is loud enough it gets picked up on mic. Yes, it is. Yes, good girl. Can I stitch things? Is that acceptable to you? Thank you. I appreciate your blessing. Oh my gosh, why do you have so much fur? I'm gonna have to brush you this afternoon, aren't I? So much fluff. Yes, you have so much fluff. Ma'am, you've got the offended ears going on. We've been over this. I'm gonna keep stitching. If it tickles, you can go sleep on your pan, or in your cubby hole, or on your blanket. You don't have to be on my lap. Yes, I see your offended ears. What are you knitting, Joe? Blanket? What? Ooh, a lacework shawl. Excellent. I've just, within the last couple months, branched out from blankets and scarves. I made Kara a cardigan that is much too warm for her. Well, hello, Gishtastic. But yeah, I made Kara a cardigan that is much too warm. So I'm going to be remaking it as a vest. But first I'm actually also making a cardigan for Merlin, which is going really, really well. So I've got a few shawl patterns saved that I really like the look of. So I think once I've finished the cardigan, I'll see about doing a couple of those. It's a really cute emote, Gishtastic. Is that a bunny rabbit? Looks like a bunny rabbit. Sock kick. Brain, you did this. Yeah, that's usually where I'm at too. If I've got a couple blankets that are just the same stitch a million times that I work on when I can't pay attention to anything else, and then I've got the cardigan is for when I have the brain to read the pattern. Oh, it's a moth! I see. Oh yeah, it's got the fuzzy antenna, eh? Oh, that's so cute. Sasha. What? She's offended that there's stuff touching her back. Oh, thank you, Cho. Let me pop that open so I have it. Socks are the one thing. Oh, alpaca's so nice. I wish I could afford more alpaca yarn. Socks are the one thing I've never really tried to make. Mostly because I crochet rather than knitting, and crochet socks are doable but kind of a disaster. But I've made arm warmers. I actually need to finish a set for Kara that I told her I would make back in the winter, and I made one and then I never made the second one. I should finish that for her. Yeah, I've crocheted for years and years. I learned in like grade 5. But I've tried to knit, but there's something about the two needles doing different things that I just can't wrap my brain around. My fingers just keep fumbling over it. And I'm content enough with crochet, so I've never really tried too hard to teach myself to knit. Yeah, crochet socks are an art piece and a statement. They're not really functional. Leg warmers, sure, but not something I'd want around my foot. Oh good, I'm glad I'm not the only one. Yeah, it's something about the two separate needles that need to be doing different things that I just kind of fumble over it. But I do a lot of like Tunisian and entrelac crochet, which is where you pick up multiple loops on your crochet hook. I've actually got some right here, one second. So it's like a hybrid knitting crochet almost. So it can replicate some of the stitches in the style of knitting, but with crochet. But I don't think you'd be able to harness it for socks. So Sasha won't let me pull all of this. But yeah, so this is just, it's a crochet hook. But the way that it works is I've got multiple loops picked up on it, and then I'll pull the thread back through and just sort of work it. This happens to be entrelac, which is a method of doing like small squares. So basically I worked up this square and then across, and then I'm working up this square and then I'll go across. Tunisian is basically the same thing, but you use a much longer hook and you pull all of it onto one hook. Oh, thank you for the tutorial, Cho. And Mosaic Crochet is another one where I've looked at it. I haven't actually tried it yet. It looks really cool and it looks fun. It just also looks a bit intimidating. So I've not given it a serious look at yet. Oh, thank you for the follow, Gishtastic. I appreciate that. Yeah, Mosaic Crochet is really pretty though. I should give it a more serious look at. I just, usually when I crochet, I'm doing it like in front of the television with my laptop on my lap. So I only have limited space and I kind of only want one ball at a time. But now that I've got workspace, I should try a mosaic pattern. Where you don't have to cut the yarn at the end of every row. See, that's fantastic. If you wouldn't mind tossing a link, I'd really appreciate, or at least the name of that person, because that sounds great. Because I think that's what I've found so intimidating, is doing it row by row and having to really watch what you're doing. Also, Merlin, that's fantastic. I love that your dad got hand knit things that everyone was jealous of. That's the dream. Oh, thank you, Kate. Yes, everybody check your posture, straighten up, no shrimping, maybe drink some water, check your meds. Yeah, you should be able to post a link-ish. I've got that setting. I've got it set so that people can. Thank you. Perfect. Excellent. Pop that open too so I'll have it later. Thank you for that. You're on the third of her patterns. Excellent. I will definitely take a look at that. Well, now you've calmed down, Sasha. She has decided that sleep is more important. At some point I'll probably do some crochet on stream. The only issue is that most of the time Sasha tolerates when I do patchwork on top of her, obviously. She doesn't usually tolerate when I crochet on top of her. The Nya Infinity Blanket? Oh, I'm definitely going to be looking that one up, just based on the name alone. Oh, oops. I'm out of pieces. I need to make some more pieces. Nya as in not your average. Okay, fair enough. Still a great name though. I was picturing like a Nyan cat blanket, which would also be awesome. I'm also just teaching myself how to crochet lacework. I've got a couple nice tutorials that I've found that I'm kind of saving until after I'm done Merlin's cardigan. But I kind of want to try doing like a freeform vest where I just crochet one big rectangle in lacework and then lay the top edge across my shoulders, pull it underneath the arms, and then pin it or you know, sew it so that it becomes just like a really drapey freeform vest. It may not turn out the way I'm envisioning in my head, but I kind of want to give it a try just to practice lacework stitches if nothing else. Okay. Did I knot the end? Yes, I did. Excellent. What? Why are you wiggling? Ooh. Oh, that's really, really pretty, Gishtastic. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna have to give that pattern a try because that's really pretty. It looks so thick and warm too. Yeah, I'm definitely going to be giving that pattern a try. Cotton acrylic blend, so not terribly warm. That's good. You could probably make it extremely warm though if you wanted to. Like you, right, Sasha? This is just a fluffy hot water bottle. Too warm to fully enjoy. Yeah, that's the problem with the cardigan that I made for my wife, because she tends to run a bit too warm anyway, and then I made the mistake of making a really thick long sleeve fluffy cardigan for her, and it's too warm. But that's okay because I wear it more than she does, so it still gets use. I just need to make her consciously a more lightweight one. Ooh, that's really pretty too, Gishtastic. Oh wow, it's so intricate. Yeah, I can definitely see how that would be a complicated piece, but it looks amazing. Yeah, merino wool. Yeah, that... I get warm just looking at merino wool. Also, yes, Kate, you're just a fluffy hot water bottle is #goals. Sasha's living the dream. Were you here when I said that she has 4 different nests in this room alone? Yes, that's perfect, Dobby. Broke, wearing your wife's clothes. Woke, wearing your wife's clothes that you made yourself for your wife. Yep. Yep, that's what it is. It's fine. Oh good, video tutorials are always nice. I always appreciate when there's that. Oh, and tutorials for both right and lefties. That's amazing. I mean, obviously I'm right-handed myself, but I know crafters that are left-handed, and sometimes listening to the struggles they've had just trying to... Oh yeah, you're left-handed? Perfect. Yeah, I've heard some stories. I know cross-stitch can also sometimes be hard for lefties. Because you're designed to do it in rows. Although I know somebody that's a left-handed cross-stitcher that just does her crosses in the opposite direction. It's just mirror image. A picture of Chicken being very aggravated at knitting. Oh, I need to see this. 1 second. You're fine. Don't grumble at me. Aw, poor Chicken. Clearly, Chicken's life is very hard, just as hard as Sasha's is. Need more thread. Hi. Yet you're gonna have to get used to me working on top of you, honey. Yes, I see the look you're giving me. Yeah, that's right. Go back to sleep. These poor cats, Cho. We're just the worst parents ever. Daring to craft on top of them. And I'm sure Chicken has nowhere else to lay. No, no beds, no blankets, nowhere but your lap. And yet, you knit on top of her. How could you? Theo's still really young though, eh? He's what, 3 or 4, I think you've said? So he's still got a lot of kitten in him. Whereas Chicken's 15. Although she does not look at Cho. Like that picture especially, she does not look that old. And Sasha's, we think 9 or 10, perhaps. We got her from a shelter, so they're not exactly sure how old she was when we got her. The vet that saw her suspects that she was 3 or 4 when we got her. So we think she's roughly 9 or 10. Yeah, probably. I mean, when Sasha was younger, like when we first got her, when she was 3 or 4, she never wanted to be in laps. Like, she absolutely hated it. She would struggle to get out of your arms. She would not stay in laps. But as she's gotten older, she's mellowed a lot. I mean, I think it helps that she absolutely loves fleece blankets. So the fact that I've got a fleece blanket on my lap, she's like, all right, well, I guess I'll tolerate your lap for the sake of the blanket. But she's definitely chilled out as she's gotten older, and I think most cats do. I mean, you've still got probably plenty of time, Cho. Like, my mother-in-law's cat lived to be 19, and the cat that they had when Kara was younger lived to be 21. So they've, especially since your girls are so healthy, you've got plenty of time left. Now, is Pumpkin also lap kittying, or is Pumpkin still fairly aloof? Oh, wow. Sounds like they've got some good kitty genetics, too. Pumpkin was never a lap cat. Yeah, that's fair. Some cats are just like that. Finding a mature cat that's been used to having humans, yeah, that's a good idea. When we went to the shelter and found Sasha, there was another cat there that was a Persian mix that was, I think, 9, that was very sweet and very pretty. But unfortunately, she had pre-existing health conditions and needed medication and extra care. And we were just not in a place where we would be able to afford taking care of a cat with existing medical conditions. But she was very sweet, and I've always hoped that she found a good home. So yeah, good for you for being willing to take on an older cat. Because so many times when they end up in the shelter, people just want kittens, and the older cats tend to get overlooked. Like, again, that's kind of why we went with Sasha. She was already 3 or 4. She was definitely not a kitten. And she's a black cat. And they tend to, there's statistics saying, at least in our area, that they don't get adopted as often. So we wanted to give her a good home. And we have, I think. Yeah, that too, Cho. Being able to tell what their personalities are and not having to guess. When we went to the shelter to look for a cat, we actually took a ball of yarn with us, because I have so much yarn laying around the house. And when I was growing up, one of my friend's cats used to eat yarn. Like, not just chew on it, she would legit eat it like spaghetti. And I have so much yarn laying around the house, we wanted to make sure that we weren't gonna get a cat with the same problem, because there's just no way to completely clean up all my yarn. So we took a ball of yarn with us to test any cats that we were potentially getting. just to make sure they weren't going to straight up eat it. And when we explained to the shelter worker, she was like, "Oh yeah, that's really smart. Thank you for thinking of that." Because we want to make sure that any cat we bring home is also safe and not a health hazard to themselves. And yeah, Kite, that's the main reason that we are not dog people. Uh, None of us in this house has enough energy due to various reasons to keep up with a dog. Not even just like daily walks, but just the generally higher energy that most dogs have. We would not be able to keep up with it. And luckily, we're all aware of that and all in agreement that this is not really a dog friendly house. I love dogs and I love playing with other people's dogs. I just could not have one for myself. Yes, I touched your ear. How offensive. I'm very sorry. Ma'am, you have so much fur. Yeah, you too, Gishtastic. Thank you for stopping by. Thank you for sharing those incredible patterns. I'm definitely looking into those. Have a good day. And thank you again for the follow. I definitely appreciate it as a new streamer. Also, I'm excited to see Julie playing a yarn-based game. I'm looking forward to rating that in a few minutes. Just a couple months. So I only just got studio space when, so a previous roommate moved out and I turned their room into a sewing room. It is unraveled. Yeah, a friend of mine is streaming that, so I'll be rating her at 2 when I end. Yeah, so I've been streaming for a little over a month, about 6 weeks now. Mostly as a way to just make myself set aside time to work every week. Well, thank you. I appreciate that so much. Have a good day yourself. Did I cut this corner too close? Nah, it's fine. It's totally fine. Oh, she's snoring. Sasha, honey. Oh. What? You did a startle. Did you wake yourself up? Sasha, there's so much fur everywhere. I can't get a camera with any higher resolution because then your fur will just show up on everything. You're so wiggly this morning. You're shedding on purpose, aren't you? Oh, you kick. What? You're just being extra ticklish today, is that it? Just super extra ticklish. What? I think it's because her belly fluff is here. And she's so ticklish. Look at those kicks. Poor thing. Yes, you are ticklish, aren't you? Yep. Yeah. She does have the hardest life. All she wants to do is lay on my lap, and I keep tickling her belly with my thread. This look that she's giving me, though. I know, I'm the worst. Alright, well, in light of the cat being ticklish, and that the burp clock says it is 2 p.m., also I would like lunch. So, I will probably end it there for today. Thank you for stopping by. Thank you for the follows. I really super appreciate it. Thank you for hanging out and chatting with me. As you may have noticed, I don't necessarily talk a lot on my own, so I'm always happy to have people to chill and chatter with. Yeah, thank you for coming. And let's go raid Julie's yarn game, because that looks neat as hell. Yep, I will send you Julie words as is tradition. Thank you for stopping by, and I'll see you guys next week.